Greetings and salutations, brownies. Welcome to another episode of Just Jazz Vlogs. Now, before we get into the content, I just want to give you guys an update and conclusion on the Marriott situation. They emailed me and tweeted me. We worked everything out. Everything was covered. I think everyone misunderstood things on their end and my end. And it's over now. But thank you guys for the support, and thank you for just listening, and that's about it. Moving on to the content for today. Today I want to talk about inner beauty and kind of how I learned how to love myself, and how I'm continuing, how it's an ongoing battle. As I talked about a couple days ago, I told you about me being in foster care and some of the events that happened during my experience. And that had a lot to do with how I viewed myself. I remember, I think I was like 6 or 7 or something like that. My biological mom told me that if you didn't have the disabilities you have, it would be easier to want you or have you. And I don't want to say that was like the moment that I hated myself. Excuse me, but that is when it truly started. I mean, when you're in foster care anyhow, you always feel unwanted, no matter how much my foster family made me feel loved and everything. I still felt like, damn, if my own mother doesn't want me, who else is gonna want me? And I hated myself, but I didn't really know what it meant as a young person, like a child. Once I got into my teens and early adulthood is when I just didn't like myself at all. It was quite obvious. Things were great in the beginning, but I started gaining weight. I started not showering, falling into a deep depression, and I can sit here and say, that doesn't mean anything, but like, the weight that I was and how bad I smelled and everything, there's no way you could love yourself. There was no way, with what I put myself through, you could honestly say that I loved myself. It was a really difficult time.
Do you think that maybe because it was about middle school that you had something to do with your peers as well?
I don't think my peers really didn't treat me any kind of way, but I definitely compared myself to my peers. I always said they were prettier and everything like that, realizing I think I hated that I was short as well for a while. And I always used to tell myself, if I was average height, I would feel pretty. I would feel beautiful. When in fact, it's not true, because I equate it to the same thing as when people who are like obese and they lose weight and everything, they still see themselves as that overweight, unhappy person. And I think now that I know, let's just say magically back in the day, I could have gotten taller. I don't think it would have made, it wouldn't have made me any happier than I was before.
So really it was just, you changing your self-image as you got a little older.
Yeah, exactly. Like, my mom always told me, until you love yourself, no one else is gonna love you. And I 100% believe it. She used to tell me, you're unique, that you stand out. These are good things. You don't want to fit in. And I remember telling myself, all I ever want to do is fit in, because then I'll be beautiful. For some reason, I equated fitting in with beauty and happiness. Somewhere in my mind, I swore that if I wasn't in this chair, this size and body, I would be happier. And I think, honestly, I would have been more unhappy than where I was at the time.
So it was kind of like the learning process was more enriching to you than it was to just get what you wanted.
Pretty much. Like, growing up, I was always told, you're going to be this size forever. So you need to just accept it and try to be happy. And I wasn't trying to hear that. I'm also really embarrassed. It didn't take me until I was 23 to really learn to love myself and accept myself. And I'm 26 now. That's like 23 years, not 23, because when you're a little kid you're happy. That's like over 10 years of unhappiness. It was, I feel like I created my own problems for myself, and I think part of it I did, but then like the situation I grew up in at the time didn't help either. I just felt so ugly. I remember this one time I was in college, I was on the bus, and this crazy lady gets on, she sits on, and she keeps staring a hole at me. And I asked her, finally, "Can I help you, ma'am?" "No, I just never seen anybody that looked as ugly as you." She was this crazy old lady on the bus, and I said, "Excuse me?" And she said, "You must be of the devil, because God would never make anything that looked just as ugly as you." And of course, she was crazy. I should have known this. I should never have taken it to heart. But the whole ride, she berated me about how ugly I was. And you'd think somebody else on the bus would have stood up for me. But you know, it's whatever. And I remember I got off the bus and I cried. Like, I cried hard. Even though I knew she was crazy and her opinion should not have mattered to me. But I realized that I felt that way about myself. And she was just reiterating what I thought was obvious. I'm like, she sees how ugly I am. I wonder how many other people see it too.
Well,
And
what kind of got you over that later in life?
therapy. Seeing a therapist and taking care of myself and realizing that me standing out is one of my best assets, and that it's really not about, I mean, a little bit it's how you look, but it's all about how you carry yourself, the confidence that you had. I used to tell myself, no one is ever going to want to date me or go out with me, because all they're going to see is how I look, and they're not going to care. And there are some people who are like that. But I found that the more I started loving myself, taking care of myself, slowly losing the weight, I could be doing better. A lot of guys and just people in general have asked me out on dates because I think they see the inner beauty, and maybe some of them are just freaks. But the point is, because I care about myself, other people see it, and they can look past my differences. And that's what I really want people to take away from this, is once you learn to love yourself, when you think I can't get this because I'm not this, it's all about your outlook and how you view yourself. And you will make it if you believe in yourself and you value yourself, and that's all I really got.
Was it really something like in particular that you could think of that drove you? Like something that truly, like that old woman on the bus. Just right now, I can tell that's now your new motivation. Just to tell her that she's wrong. Like, was there anything similar to that really, really kind of drove you to push yourself higher?
I think, like I said, a couple years ago, I was in the Reading Terminal when we went. The Reading Terminal. Reading Terminal was like a big market in our area in Philly, and I saw my biological mother there for the first time in like 10 years. And instead of looking at her as the mother that I wanted and that wasn't there for me, I looked at her objectively as just a person, just some random person. And I'm not super religious, but I believe in God. And I asked God to give me what I needed to forgive her. And in that moment, I forgave her for every hurt or anything she had ever done to me, because I looked at her objectively and not the sugar woulda couldas. And once I let go of that baggage, I started flying. I started soaring. So that's a lot of it. A lot of it is I just had to let go, because she's out there living her life, doing her thing. I'm still hating on her about things she's probably not thinking about. And that's what really did it, just forgiving her for everything. Because then I felt free, and everything kind of fell into place. I think for that note, it's kind of heavy. I think we're going to leave it there. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Comment below. Tell me what you liked. Subscribe to the channel. All that fun stuff. Have a fantastic day and stay blessed. Goodbye.